Hi friends. If you're watching this video, it's probably because, like me, you have a 2007 or similar year Airstream 19-foot or similar travel trailer with a rear corner bathroom, and you're having a problem with your shower plumbing. For me, the problem started when I went to take a shower. I turned the water on and suddenly the little elbow fitting that the shower hose screws into broke off in my hand. They call this a drop L. Water sprayed everywhere. I shut off the faucet, but then I discovered a real problem, which is how do you even get to the shower plumbing in an Airstream when there's no access panel? The first problem wasn't even the repair itself, it was discovering that there was nothing online to guide me. No diagrams, no videos, no real helpful forum posts. I felt like I was on my own. Now, here at iFixify, we make videos that help people fix their Airstreams, particularly Airstream Dometic fridges and some other upgrades. But when this shower fitting broke, I realized no one had documented the repair, so I figured, why not share it? Because there's no access panel in this model of Airstream, my first idea was to take off the shower valve handle and trim and see if I could reach the broken plumbing through this hole. But it was way too small. I could barely fit my hand in there, much less tools or other parts. Then I thought about cutting through the exterior aluminum skin and turning the hole into an outdoor shower. But because of the curve of the trailer wall, I didn't actually think it would fit right, and I did not want to create an expensive permanent problem. So that left me with one other option, which was to remove the interior wall that divides the shower from the toilet. I was really reluctant to do this at first, but once I committed and got into it, I realized that this was actually the best choice, and I'm actually glad I did it this way. To remove this divider wall, you have to remove screws from inside and outside of the shower. I then carefully scored and cut away the caulk and adhesive that sealed the wall to the fiberglass shower enclosure and to the Nautilus retractable shower door frame. I had to go slowly here to avoid scratching the fiberglass or the aluminum. And when given a choice between sacrificing the fiberglass, the aluminum, or the shower wall, I chose the shower wall, and I'm glad I did. It turns out this wall is really disappointing. It's really just half-inch plywood wrapped in a shelf paper-like plastic covering, and I discovered that it was already starting to rot and that the screws were already corroding. It's not really what I expected from a supposedly premium travel trailer, especially for something being used in a wet area. At this point, I really couldn't help thinking why Airstream just didn't design this shower enclosure with proper fiberglass walls in the first place. And since I don't have any fiberglass construction experience, what I needed was something that was 100% waterproof and easy to cut and drill like wood, was rigid enough to be sturdy, and gave a smooth finish that was easy to clean. So I looked around and I found this stuff, which is called Comacel, K-O-M-A-C-E-L. It's basically a rigid PVC board, and I found this stuff at my local plastics supply company. This cost about $75 for this quantity. Is this what you would have chosen? Let me know in the comments below. So here's where things got tricky. I don't know why Airstream built the original wall the way they did, but I realized that for a more streamlined, more waterproof construction, I would have to make my replacement wall wider than the original. And that created a problem that a lot of Airstream owners are familiar with, which is that the Airstream interior walls curve continuously into the ceiling like an airplane interior, so scribing can be very difficult, and you have to scribe things because every Airstream interior is unique. Because this PVC board material isn't cheap, I knew I had to get this right the first time. I tried scribing. I tried creating a cardboard template, and neither of those things worked. So I ultimately decided to use the old wall as a template, but with a twist. I made sure that the retractable shower door was in its correct position, and I held the old wall snug against it to make sure that everything was positioned correctly. I then took a series of about 20 or 30 plastic drinking straws and taped them to the edge of the original dividing wall so that the tips of the straws were pressed against the walls and ceiling of the interior of the Airstream. Then I took this contraption and put it on top of my PVC board blank. I put painter's tape underneath the straw ends, and then I marked each point with a pencil, which gave me a dotted outline of the Airstream's unique curve. I connected the dots using a flexible drafting straight edge. This is a specialized tool. Anything flexible that holds a curve will work. The goal is to get a smooth, continuous line. Cutting the curve was pretty easy. I just used a jigsaw with a fine-tooth blade, and this Comacel material cuts just like wood. For durability and appearance, you're supposed to seal the cut edges of the coma cell. Before committing to the final product, I tried a couple of the techniques for edge sealing that I found online on scraps that I'd already cut off. Sanding with sandpaper did not work for me because the color of the sandpaper rubbed off on the edge of the coma cell. I also tried applying acetone as well as PVC adhesive to seal the edge, but that did not give me the glossy polish that some videos showed. If you've used coma cell or similar PVC board and got edge sealing to work, drop a comment and let us know how you did it. In the end, what I did was sealed it with acetone and then added edge banding for a clean, durable finish. It worked, but it wasn't quite what I was expecting. Once the new wall was cut and finished, I did a dry fit inside the shower. The goal was to use the existing screw holes from the previous installation in the shower as my guide. To get the positioning right, I temporarily reinstalled the Nautilus shower door. That way I knew exactly where the new divider needs to sit. Then I used a pencil through the old screw holes in the fiberglass to mark the spots on the new coma cell wall that had to be drilled. I also marked and cut out a rectangle for future access in case the shower plumbing ever fails again. I cut out the access panel with a jigsaw, and I used acetone on the cut edges just like before. I don't know if I'm 100% satisfied with the final product. Leave me a comment if you would have done this differently. The next step was to prep the contact surfaces between the new shower dividing wall, the shower enclosure, and the shower door so I could stick everything together with 3M VHB tape. I used these special prep pads, and I did put links, including affiliate links, to all of the things I used for this project in the description. Here's another tricky point. After you peel off the protective film from the VHB tape, once it touches, it's stuck for good. So, to line things up perfectly, I placed stainless steel screws through the new wall and used the existing holes in the shower enclosure as registration points. That let me carefully ease the wall into place without misalignment. Once it was in position, I tightened the screws down, and I used clamps where I didn't have any screws to make sure that the tape was firmly in contact with all surfaces. These are the screws I used. They're number 6 stainless steel machine screws with a bugle head. On the visible side, I finished them off with decorative brushed stainless mirror caps, which match the Airstream interior. On the inside of the shower, I used a washer, a lock washer, and a nut in that order. I couldn't find decorative caps for this side of the installation, but I do know that it's functionally rock solid. I'll trim the ends of the screws to size and finish them with a cap nut. If you know of a better way, drop it in the comments. After getting everything in place, I sealed all of the joints with Sikaflex 221. This has a long enough work time that I could tool it neatly and make sure that the seams are watertight. So here's the finished result. A new coma cell divider that's solid, waterproof, and a huge upgrade over the old plywood. The Nautilus retractable door is back in, and everything is sealed tight. Best of all, I have an access point in case the shower plumbing ever fails again. So in the end, what started as a plumbing failure turned into a bathroom upgrade. I hope my walkthrough helps the next Airstream owner who faces the same problem. And if you're curious, we make a lot of replacement parts for Airstream Dometic fridges and other upgrades. Check us out at ifixify.co. If you've ever tried to tackle an Airstream shower repair, what shortcuts or surprises did you find? Share your story in the comments. It may help the next person out. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, hit like, subscribe, and I'll see you for our next project.